Okay, so it should is Craig in there, Chris? Just need to be sure. Okay.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
in here.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, looks like we are good to go. All right, welcome everyone to the final panel of day 5 of Serenity Spring Festival. I am your host, Leah, and the artist showcase is Jasmine by the Bay.
Hi everyone, it's good to see you guys here. Thanks so much for having me on as a panelist at Serenity Spring Festival today.
Yeah, like I really enjoy your art. Like every time I see something from you, I'm like, I need to invite this person. Need to invite
Thank
this
you for the
artist.
invite.
All right, chat. Just as a friendly reminder, please do not swear and do not put any abbreviations of swear words in the chats, please. I'm just reiterating because just to be sure you all follow the rules. But let's get started. Jasmine, why don't you like introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi everyone. As you guys know, I'm Jasmine. I am an illustrator and an artist, and you might, if you guys have been around in Sonic IRL events, you guys have probably seen me at Sonic Expo events. Last year, for example, I was at Sonic Expo Dallas. The year I was also at what was it called? Sonic. There was one in Reno last summer. I can't remember all the name off the top of my head. Sonic Neon. That's it. You might have seen me there. Yeah, I post regularly on my Twitter and my Instagram and Tumblr. So you may have seen some of my work there. I know that some of my merch pieces have popped off in the past, so it's entirely possible you may have also seen my work through just some retweets. Maybe you've never seen my work, but today I'm just going to be talking about like some of my work, and in particular, I want to go over some of the inspirations behind my work. A lot of people, when I table at conventions and artist alleys, they often ask me about like what are my inspirations behind Sonic, what inspired me to make some of my works, especially because a lot of my work, a lot of my Sonic work isn't so much about like I guess I guess a lot of people have commented that like my Sonic work is kind of unique. So I guess I just wanted to talk about like what my interpretation of Sonic is and how that inspires my work. So, I guess to start, the really big thing about my Sonic work is whimsy maxing, I suppose. So, what this basically means is that like I imagine Sonic to be someone to be really full of whimsy. He is a lot of smiles, a lot of enjoyment of life and the world around him, and as such, he has in a lot of my work he is often smiling, really big smiles. So I use a lot of super vibrant colors in my work, and I guess another big thing is that I sort of imagine Sonic as as kind of a force of nature, sort of like a gentle force of nature where like he holds all this power. He runs at the speed of sound. Like he can do a lot of astounding and amazing things that like most people just cannot even fathom. But like he does it without any malice. It's not about showing off his power or using his power in any sort of like grand display. It's more of just about he can do it, and he does so very gently and does so with because he just loves the world around him. So, yeah, I guess that's like kind of the my idea of what Sonic is. It's like as sort of a concept, just like very whimsical, very freedom loving. Uh, he just loves the world around him and whatnot. So, let's like talk about like how some of my inspirations behind uh my work. So I guess to start with, Sonic Frontiers is actually one of the really big inspirations behind my current interpretation of Sonic and how he looks in my work. So for some background, Sonic Frontiers was probably the first Sonic game that I bought for myself, and it was probably the first time I played a Sonic game in a couple of years at that point. It's because when I was really little, I got into Sonic when I was really really young, like maybe around 10 years old. I got a DS and an R4 that happened to have Sonic Rush on it, so that was my very first Sonic game. However, parents caught me playing Sonic at 2 a.m. I mean, playing Pokemon at 2 a.m. took away my DS, so then I just couldn't play any of the Sonic games in between then. But like, and then there were a couple years where I kind of like moved on to other interests outside of Sonic. But then Sonic Frontiers was what brought me back in, and in particular, I just it's like so coming. I guess like one big thing is that when Sonic Frontiers came out, I was already an adult. So at that point, I had some like already better at like coming up with concepts and like and had a wider like mental library of like ideas and whatnot. And the in particular, Sonic Frontiers, what really caught my attention was like how they really push into the idea of like Sonic being like a force of nature and being compared to the stars. Like everyone else has heard undefeatable, and so like the line on what you get when the stars collide. That one was like that really stuck in my brain. I was like, oh, Sonic is like a front is like um is just a force of nature. He's comparable to the stars. He is a celestial body. He is like something beyond fathom. And so this was what really got me back into Sonic. And also like that's this it's also at a point that like helped me I guess like think more. It's when my perspective of Sonic shifted from when I was a kid and sort of just saw him as like a character, super fun loving, super adventure seeking, and like and as I go into adult, into becoming more of a symbol of like freedom and just like a force of nature. Sorry, I keep using the word force of nature, but like that really is like a really big thing for me about like how I depict Sonic. And so, hey, I saw a question in the audience. Mayo animates. What do you like about Sonic Frontiers? Was the concept or the story's idea? I think it's really about the concept and how they presented Sonic. Like I really when I played the game, I really enjoyed the fact that the creators simply just like they went they just did not care about like putting limits to Sonic's abilities. Like they went all in about just making him look as cool as possible and just to make give him all these tricks and attacks that I thought were absolutely sick, and just like he went into Super Sonic like multiple times in this game rather than just saving it for the final boss, which I absolutely love. Like he's just like he was just like go go go, um just like super cool fight, doing all these cool tricks and whatnot, and just also like yeah, I guess it's just like they really presented Sonic differently in this game from most other Sonic games, and I think that's what like I've really appreciated about Sonic Frontiers. So yeah, so I guess this is one of the first big inspirations for me. Sonic Frontiers was what really kicked off me getting really back into Sonic back in 2022. And so let's move on to the next. My next really big influence with Sonic, it's going to be the artist Evan Stanley. Most of you know her as one of the artists for IDW, and she's also one of the artists for a lore team on Sonic Team. But I've actually been following Evan Stanley for well over a decade now. Back in her DeviantArt days, back when I first discovered her when I was like 11 years old, and for a really long time, she was the artist that I looked towards when I they were the artists that I looked towards when I was thinking about like how do I draw Sonic. So it's like I would always look at their proportions. I would always look at how did they paint Sonic. And for example, this top left piece of Sonic in the blue. This I always go back to this piece to look to see like how do they paint Sonic. In particular, I really love how they painted the eyes here. Like how they did the shiny part on the bottom, and also how they colored the pupils of Sonic's eyes to give it some depth to make it seem like you can see that like it's like a marble. It put the green, the actual color is like pushed into the eye, but then the actual membrane of the eye is rounded out on the top. This Evan also has like a really great understanding of like how Sonic characters shapes interact with light, because a lot of Sonic characters have really wonky shapes, especially like Silver's quills, for example. But Evan has been drawing Sonic characters for well over a decade now. Honestly, we're probably approaching 20 years at this point. They've been drawing Sonic for a really long time, and so they've developed a really good understanding of like how light interacts with Sonic characters and how to paint them on Sonic characters. And so I constantly go back to their work to see like how would they draw Sonic doing this specific thing, and how can I use that in my own work. So a lot of my proportions, the way I draw Sonic eyes, that's all pulled from Evan's work. So yeah, this is one of the so this is like they're a really big inspiration for how I stylize Sonic characters. And then lastly, my final inspiration is going to be Haikyuu. So Haikyuu is probably my favorite manga of all time. It's a story that explores what it means to be passionate about something, and it's something that really helped me out in the first half of college when I was like really debating, trying to figure out like what I was going to do with my life. And in particular, you'll see a lot of Haikyuu's influences in the way I draw expressions, and not just in Sonic characters, but really particularly in the expressions of joy and exuberance that a lot of the characters show. So, like you'll constantly see characters in Haikyuu smiling because of revelation or achievement, or just managing to achieve some sort of goal. And so their expressions are really wide, really expressive, and really just like full of joy and whimsy. And so that's something I try to replicate in my own work. And like on the right here, this is one of my own works. I where I just did a quick study on like how I could apply haiku expressions to Sonic characters. And in particular, this one was just about like how they cheer after like making a goal or something like that. And yeah, so you'll see this kind of stuff. You'll see haiku expressions a lot in the way I draw Sonic characters. And just like how and just like especially when I'm trying to draw like really big expressions or really exuberant expressions, haiku is what I will reference for these kind of expressions. Yeah, so these are my three major sources of inspiration when it comes to my Sonic work. And yeah, I guess like let's take a look at some of the work I have, some of my works, and like just I'll just talk about like what inspired the piece, what was my motivation for drawing those pieces, and whatnot. So yeah, I guess we could start with these three supersonic pieces. This is all one series, and it's probably one of my more popular pieces of my more popular series of art. Um, a massive amount of inspiration for these pieces came from Sonic Frontiers. It's one of the first pieces I made after finished playing Sonic Frontiers, because of like their comparison of Sonic to a star. And at this around this time, I also watched a Dragon Ball Z fan film called Legends, and they depicted Super Saiyan Goku in a way very similar to this. That fan film was inspiration for how I drew Sonic here, where they specifically made the hair glow so brightly that it made the rest of Goku it put the it made the rest of Goku shaded, so like the hair was the source of light. So that's something I try to do with these works. So as you can see, it's like Sonic here isn't just yellow, but his fur itself is glowing, and then other aspects of him that aren't fur. So his skin, his hands, his shoes, they aren't glowing, and as such, they are slightly hidden in shadow, and they're darker than the rest of Sonic's body. And I just thought that was a really cool effect, whereas like he himself is like a source of light. Um, and then also from the fan film was also like the the flames where he's coming. the flames coming out of his quills, that also was inspired by how Goku was depicted in that fan film. And so I was combining these two, um, combining the fan film's depiction of Goku with like Sonic Frontier's comparison of Sonic to the stars to create these pieces. So the top left piece right here, this one was called Heavenly Body, where this was the first piece in the series I made, and originally I only made it to be a standalone piece. I wasn't intending to make the rest of the other two initially. So this one was called Heavenly Body, where I was just like thinking like, oh, Sonic is a star, he is a celestial body or a heavenly body. And so I sort of put um so I depicted him as like a being with his own gravitational pull, hence like the compass behind him. So that was the first piece. The second piece I made in the series is going to be the one directly under it, the one with the star charts. And I was just riffing off of the original idea, and I thought, oh, if Sonic is a star, that means he's also a sun because the sun is a star. So I was thinking, so that means he would be at the center of like a solar system. Hence, this piece is putting him at the center of a star chart where he has like celestial bodies and other planets like rotating, orbiting around him. He is the center of a solar system. And then the last piece is called Event Horizon, where I was thinking like, oh, he must have like he treats he loves the world around him. He treats it as his own playground and whatnot. And so, what if he just held enough power that like he can just hold on to like a black hole of all things as sort of just like as as a toy, essentially. So that's the inspiration behind this third piece. I was at the time I was like looking into different space objects and saw like a black hole is like the densest item in the known universe. It is something where the laws of physics start getting really wonky and messed up because of how heavy the gravity here is. And so I like the idea of Sonic just being like treating this anomaly, this like uh the closest this like anomaly in the universe where the laws of physics don't exist as sort of just another object to play with in the universe. And so that was the inspiration behind this third piece. So this entire series of pieces, it's just sort of just playing on the idea of like Sonic being is force of nature and an incredibly powerful being who treats the world but who like really loves the world and treats it as sort of his own playground, and nothing in this world really phases him, and it's just all part of uh the nature of the world and that's something he loves. So let's move on to the next two pieces I have. So these two pieces are really lean into the whimsy theme that I mentioned earlier. So this one on the left is an older piece, the one on the right is a much more recent piece. And yeah, it's like following the what's it called? Following the way I drew Sonic here, I really enjoyed drawing Sonic like this with like the fur glowing and the rest of him shaded. So I brought that concept over with me to like all the other Sonic arts I've done, supersonic art I've done since then. So this one left here, this one is basically Sonic using a nebula as a cape, and then this one on the right is just Sonic just dancing over the water, where the water is just a galaxy around him. And so this was kind of as you can tell, I really enjoy the theme of Sonic, Supersonic in space. This is now I now have like 5 pieces that follow that theme. Um, but yeah, it's just like continuing drawing Supersonic because I really enjoy Supersonic, and like I also put a huge amount of whimsy in him. And it was just really, I just really love the idea of Sonic just enjoying life in the world around him, and like where he is a really powerful being, but like never, but just uses it as a way to have fun and enjoy the world around him. So yeah, I guess like that's just these two pieces right here. Moving on. to the next two pieces. So, the left piece right here, this is based off of Sonic and the Secret Rings. Right one is Sonic and the Black Knight. So these two pieces were just inspired by some of the other artists I follow on Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. And and I know a lot of Sonic artists really enjoy Sonic and the Black Knight and the aesthetic and the themes. And so the one on the right was well, the first one I drew. I actually drew this for a stamp rally for Anime Expo last year. And because it had been a really long time since I had drawn Sonic and the Black Knight, so I was thinking it would be really nice to just draw Sonic and the Black Knight. So Excalibur Sonic is what I drew. I really wanted to do something that was like, oh, this just looks super sick. I was just really looking to draw something cool. So Excalibur Sonic was what I came up with. Funny, a little funny, a little bit of composition. A little note on the composition of this. So the way I drew Sonic's quills here, I actually deliberately made it into the shape of a star just because it looks cool. It's not accurate. It's not anatomically accurate at all. But when you're an artist, composition and looking cool comes first over anatomical accuracy. So hence Sonic is a star, and that's such. I will also note that like when I was drawing this, I was also I had every intention to make this into a sticker. So that was also something I kept in mind while I was drawing this. Hence so the actual sticker, for example, is follows the outline of his cape. So if you see the photo of it on my store, it I think it looks pretty cool. It's also a hollow sticker where I made the armor on Sonic's the armor shiny. So I think it looks pretty cool. I was really proud of the sticker. And then the piece on the right, Sonic the Secret Rings, this was also loosely inspired by the Excalibur Sonic piece in which I was thinking about like maybe I should make another sticker, a really big sticker, because people really enjoyed the Excalibur Sonic sticker at Sonic Expo Dallas. I was thinking I can make another one following a similar thing. Hence the Sonic the Secret Rings as the successor to that. At the time, I was thinking about like Persian art, Islamic art, and because art from that particular culture is really gorgeous. I know if you're an artist, I would really encourage you to go study some of it because they have some really detailed and really gorgeous architecture and art. So I was studying that to make this piece. Um, and I guess this also kind of touches on another personal headcanon I have about Sonic is in that I think he would be someone who enjoys dancing, because like we see Sonic dance a lot in his games. He does a lot of acrobatics, so like I just think like Sonic would be someone who enjoys dancing, and so I often draw him moving with a lot of grace, like the grace of a dancer, and leaving a trail of motion behind him. So that's sort of like the inspiration behind how I came up with this pose. It's just like I was thinking like, oh, he's probably just like doing a twirl, and then just the flame on his chest just follows the trail just follows the spin that he makes. So yeah, that's like sort of the inspiration behind, or that's like the line of thinking I was following when I made this piece. And since I've also made it a sticker, so again, if you want to take a look at that, it's on my shop. You can feel free to take a look at that. All right. And then one last piece I have to show for today is just going to be this Sonic vs. Shadow piece I have. So this is definitely a little bit thematically different from the other two pieces. I've from the other pieces I've shown today. I mostly just wanted to show this because I was personally really proud of how this one came out. When I drew this, it was honestly more of just an exercise for me because I wanted to draw something that was super dynamic, with a super integrated background. And so I was just thinking, oh, what would be a great candidate for this kind of piece would just be drawing Sonic versus Shadow fighting. So it's like um, I was looking up videos of how of their of the Sonic vs Shadow boss fight. I really enjoyed how like they were just like smashing, crashing into each other, trying to force each other off their feet. And so that's what I'm drawing here. Whereas like they are just slamming into each other. Sonic with fists up, Shadow with a Chaos Sphere, and they're just really going at it. It was also an exercise on like using on drawing backgrounds. So as you can see, it's the Space Colony arc. I was looking at how the I was literally looking at like the textures that they used in the game for the floor so I can copy it. I was like looking up how to draw city buildings and like finding cityscape brushes to be able to draw the background. I really small detail that I really enjoyed. I really like the lights that they use in that in a space calling arc, that like X-shaped light. I think that's really sick. So there's that. And in the background, of course, you can see the exploded moon. Um, Another fun fact about this, I really liked how they depicted the destroyed moon in the Shadow Generations and animate short animation they released for Sonic X Shadow Generations. So that is what I was referencing when I drew this exploded moon. Yeah, and then one little small uh fun fact about this piece. This is for all the artists out there. Save the assets that you draw from other pieces because you can reuse them in other places. The You can see like a little bit of the planet of Earth in the background. I did not draw that uniquely for that piece. It is in fact something I drew for this piece, and then I just copy pasted that into this piece, but it's also like I just adjusted it a little bit, moved it slightly down, and hid most of it so like people couldn't actually tell that it was the same Earth, but it is the exact same Earth. Work smarter, not harder. Just save everything you work on for other pieces. Um, yeah. So honestly, I was just looking to be. I would. This piece was just something I did for fun because I just thought it looked cool. Um, yeah. So those are the four pieces, the pieces that I wanted to show off for this showcase. I guess, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff I'm working on right now. So if anyone, if any of you guys are going to Sonic Expo, I'm one of the artists who is drawing some of the promo work for Sonic Expo Atlanta. I'm also currently working on some of the promo work for Dallas that you guys will probably be starting to see pretty soon once the organizers start putting together promo graphics for Dallas. These are two Sonics I drew for Atlanta. There are a couple other characters that I also drew that you'll probably see as they start releasing more promo work. I'm also a merch designer, I mentioned earlier in this presentation. So on the right, Wing Shadow, where if you pull on Doom, the wings on Shadow will move. On the bottom is my biblically accurate Angel Doom Shadow. And then on the bottom left, this is the Sonic and Big Shaker fishing standee, whereas the moving fishies on the bottom are actually shakers, so you can like shake it around and the fishies will move around in the pond that they're fishing in. Yeah, these are some like the projects I'm currently working on. I will also shout out Project Silver, which is a fan game that is currently being worked on that I am also working on. If you guys are interested in that, we're going to be doing a gameplay showcase on that pretty soon. And you guys can check that out. Yeah. Um, if you guys are interested in seeing more of my work, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Blue Sky. Twitter, I'm Josh by the Bay. Everywhere else, I'm Josh by the Bay. I have a website, a card with my portfolio, and I also have that also links to my shop. And I also have an email, justinbythebay00@gmail.com, where you can contact me if you have any questions about anything on my store, or if you're looking for a commission, you can also contact me there. So yeah, I know this is a kind of a shorter presentation, but yeah, this is just quick showcase of my work. Yeah, does anyone I'd be happy to take any questions from you guys from now about my work, what I'm doing. If you guys have any questions about like how I draw Sonic and whatnot, I'd be happy to take them now. I do also have Clip Studio Paint open right now in case you guys want me to do any demos or whatnot. Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on the chat in case anyone has any questions.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions for Jasmine here, you can put your questions in the chat. But I'll start with my question, Jasmine. Like, why don't
Yeah.
you like tell us about like your works that you've done for Revo? Because I know you
Mhm.
contributed for Eggman Revolution merch.
Oh yes. Oh my God. It's been a while since I've it's been a long time since I last thought about those, but I can actually go ahead and I can actually pull those up if you'll just give me 1 second to just put them onto my slideshow. But yeah, I've actually contributed a couple of pieces to Sonic Revolution. I had I did a Sonic Shadow and Maria print and a and two sticker slash charm designs for Sonic and Racing Gear and Miku and Racing Gear. The first one, the sorry, I'm like looking, trying to find all my pieces at the same time. The where did I put them? Or I could just look them up on Sonic Revo Twitter. But yeah, the Shadow and Maria one was I made sure following Sonic XL Generations release. And so they wanted me to make something for to celebrate their release. And then this Sonic and Miku pieces were pieces that I made following Crossworld Sonic Crossworlds Racing release. And so they were wanting me to do something uh
Oh,
following to celebrate their release.
oh,
Sorry,
Jasmine, you're not, are you screen sharing? Because you're not
oh
screen
yeah,
sharing.
I'm like I'm digging through, I'm trying to find the pieces that I made, so that's why I
Oh, okay. I
stopped
just
screen
wanted
sharing
to
for a
be sure.
second. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
just
just
like
wanted to be sure.
it's been a while. I have a lot of files to dig through, so I'm just like trying to find where everything has gone. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen again. Um, yeah, so this is the first piece I made for Sonic Revolution, Shadow and Maria. This was based off of that scene in the animatic where Shadow and Maria are like hanging out in the field of flowers. This is actually available as a print for on their website. So if you guys want to take a look at that, it's there. It is also a really they printed it really nicely. It's on like glittery paper and everything. It looks really nice. And then these are the other two pieces I made. So it's Sonic and Racing Gear, Miku and Racing Gear. Again, very shortly following Sonic Crossroads release. These were made into stickers, charms, and mouse pads, I believe. So if you want to take so those are also there as well. I was very pleased with how Sonic and Miku came out as I was actually trying a slightly different approach from my normal painting process on how I drew them. I went like super lineless with them, and I'm really pleased with how these two came out. Yeah, okay, so
Oh,
question from CJ. What's your favorite artwork or merch that I am proud of? Ooh, okay, so that's probably going to be the what's it called? It's going to be probably these bottom three right here that I mentioned earlier. If you give me a minute, I'm gonna go dig out some videos. I'm gonna go dig out some of my videos for them. But the reason why I'm so proud of these is that they were all most of my um the Sonic Shaker Standing and the Doomwing Shadow Charm, they're all interactive pieces. Um and so they took a lot of work for me to get right, but in the end they turned out super well. So actually, here we go. So here is a video of how the shaker standee works, for example. So it's going to be big and Sonic, and then on the bottom you can see that the little fishies can be moved around. This took a lot of work to get to finish because there's just so
Wow.
many different pieces that I had to draw. And then the Doom Wing Shadows charm, this required a little bit of engineering, but again, I'm really pleased with how this one came out. Yeah, actually, it's like when I do when I work on a lot of merch, like these days, I really try to make it like something interactive. I really enjoy interactive pieces. I think those are the merch pieces worth the most money. So, for example, this quicksand glitter charm, I did. I was also super proud of this idea, where it's like the glitter on the inside is gold, but then the background behind it is like normal Sonic Shadow Silver. So it's like basically when we just tilt down or shake it a little bit, the gold flows around and turns into super. I just think like these kind of interactive pieces are really fun to make. So yeah, those are probably some of my favorite pieces of
Wow.
merch that I've worked on in the past. Yeah. Yeah, any other
Wow.
questions?
That's really cool. Like, I love how you do the sense of motion in these, and it's so creative. Like, I'm very curious, like, how many pieces with I think the big and Sonic one with the fishing, how many like
Yeah.
parts like did that take to construct in the acrylic stand? I'm very curious.
Yeah, so how many pieces is this? It's gonna be the base. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. God, maybe it's like around, I think it's 10 pieces in total. So it's going to be Big's fish, Sonic's fish, and then the base, which is going to be the pond and pier, and all the little fishing pieces on the middle. Actually, when I first released this piece, I actually had a little shadow add-on, um, because I released this of around the same time when Sonic X Shadow Generations released. So I actually had a little bonus piece for people who pre-ordered at the time with Shadow, who was also fishing, and his little fish was going to be a Doom Starfish. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have that. I no longer have that available. It was a Sonic X Shadow Generations pre-order exclusive item. But you can definitely still find photos of it and videos of it online if you just go through my social media or just look it up on Twitter. Yeah.
Wow. Like because that's impressive. Because
Hmm.
I've seen like, acrylic stands and they don't have that much pieces, but this was like a lot more than like 5 pieces. That's
Hmm.
impressive.
Yeah, I guess it's like, um, sorry, I really enjoy talking about standees a lot. I guess part of it is just that, like, when I design merchandise, I've really tried to take full advantage of the medium. Uh, so for example, with the Sonic's fishing standee, for example, you can't really make this as anything other than a standee. It doesn't work as a print there's like, because it has moving pieces to it. You can't exactly make it as a charm because you can't hang this off of like a keychain or whatever. So
Mhm.
whenever I design my merchandise, especially my standees, I really try to take full advantage of the fact that it is a three-dimensional item that you can interact with, and that you can just like play around with, and display multiple sides to it. So I try to take full advantage of that whenever I design my merchandise. It does unfortunately mean that like it's price a lot of work to design and also kind of expensive to produce and sell. But I think like the interactivity to it, I think does make it worth the cost.
Mm. Ooh, that's because I'm just wondering um if you are comfortable of saying like how much did it take to like get all those like pieces? You know, like how much was it like specifically? If
Yeah.
you are comfortable answering that.
Yeah. Let me think. Gosh, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is definitely like um I believe it was over $10 per standee to produce. So it's like when you're ordering like when you once you start hitting over 50 standees, and it starts adding up to a lot of money. So but it is a very popular piece of merchandise and people still really enjoy this. So I'm glad to continue making this standee and like I I'm at this point I'm really used to like spell to putting in a lot of money to make my pieces. And so honestly, it's always worth the cost to even if it is super expensive to be able to make and produce these kinds of merchandise.
Wow, that's just phenomenal. Like every time I look at your stuff and then you kind of like sometimes showcase like, oh, this is what the merchandise like actually does, with sense of motion. And I don't see a
Yeah.
lot of artists do that. And that's just very phenomenal how you're able to pull
Yeah.
off stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
it's very rare. I haven't seen as much like artists do what you do, and I'm just like always impressed with everything that I see.
Thank you. It's like yeah, I guess I just really enjoy like engineering and thinking about like how to make things interactive because I myself just really enjoy interactive merchandise. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see, and so that's the kind of stuff that I want to make.
Mm, that's really good that you're very passionate about it,
Hmm.
and it really does feel like you're like engineering it too, because you have like, especially the acrylic sands, you're kind of like,
Hmm.
okay, I need to create this piece as like separate. Like, when you put in that order for it, like, do you give them like specific directions of like, oh, this is like a separate piece, and then this is a separate piece? Like, is that how you do it for the acrylic stands?
Yeah. So contrary, so I guess like this is probably a better example of like a more complex item, but it's like when I make my orders from manufacturers, I just simply say like these are the pieces I need, this is how big I want them, and then and I'm never actually asking manufacturers to do something that they can't do. It's more about like taking advantage of what kind of what their capabilities are to the fullest extent. So for example, this one back the shadow wing charm, it's actually not super complicated. It's just that on the back you have a ball bearing, and then we use two ball bearings, attach the wings to it, and then just use some chain and jump rings to just put everything together. It's like when you typically see the ball bearings, for example, they're typically used to like make spinning parts on keychains and standees and whatnot. Here I'm just taking advantage of the fact that they have ball bearings and putting two of them and then just attaching them together to do the wing to make the wing mechanism. So a lot of times it's not about like making a brand new it's not about like making a brand new mechanism or anything. It's just taking advantage of what my manufacturers can do already and just uh, using them and just thinking creatively on like how we can use that. Um, yeah, it's
Mm.
so genuinely not super they're not like super complicated pieces of merchandise. It's just a little you just need to do a little bit of creative thinking to figure out how you can apply them in cool ways.
Wow. Yeah. Because that's just very impressive. Like,
Hmm.
like I kind of like how you have that, to move the wings.
Yeah.
Because it really gives that sense of motion, you know,
Yeah.
because obviously that's what, the wings do in in Shadow Generations. The wings have to move. So it's like the fact that you put that in your merch design and it's very innovative.
Thank you. Thank you. Uh yeah, I guess also part of it is just that like because I'm an artist, I follow a lot of other artists and so it's I get a lot of inspiration from other artists' work and also a lot of merch artists and how they make use of like of these kind of mechanisms in their work. So although it seems really innovative on my end, a lot of the stuff I do is actually just takes inspiration from what other artists have also done. So it's like once you get into this sort of community, you start seeing these kind of things and getting the inspiration for them a lot. You find the inspiration for them a lot more easily. Question from Mayo V Animates. How long did it take you to make these items like the Shadow Angel design? So the actual art itself, how long did that take me? I think actually painting the pieces, drawing the art took me maybe I think it really only took me a couple of days. Like the art itself isn't super complicated. Thinking about I think I spent more time thinking about like how just measuring out like how big do the pieces have to be and just like to make sure that like everything can be attached correctly and everything fits. So I think gosh, how long did I spend on this? So maybe 3 days on the art, 2 days thinking about like measuring everything and make sure everything fits, and then another day putting together a visual explaining how everything worked. So I guess like if we really the amount of like actual work probably around a week, but was thinking about this piece for quite a while before I actually started drawing it. Yeah.
Mm. Ooh, okay. Here's my next question for you, Jasmine. Like, do you listen to any specific music while you're creating art?
Okay. Uh so what unfortunately I'm not diagnosed or anything, but I do suspect I have ADHD. And as such, I have really wonky listening habits. So I do definitely listen to a lot of sonic music. I do also listen to a lot of other artists that follow the sort of like the theme of whimsy. So Porter Robinson is one, Madeon is another. Let me just take a quick peek at my Spotify. Who else am I listening to right now? Um, uh, a lot of video game OSTs, because that's just the kind of stuff that I lean towards. A lot of hiking music, again, because it's just the stuff I enjoy. That's just the shows I enjoy. Unfortunately, because of that ADHD thing, I do have this habit of just like listening to one song on repeat. So unfortunately,
Mhm.
my listening habits are probably not going to be applicable to most of you because you probably go insane from listening to a single song on repeat. I believe last year on my Spotify Wrapped, there was they legitimately told me that I listened to one song for 72 hours on repeat. So again, not very sane listening habits. Probably not applicable to most people. So um, yeah, there it's that. Actually, I'm usually watching like documentary videos and like video and let's plays when I am working. That's the kind of stuff that I'm actually usually have on the background when I work.
Mm. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah, nothing
like
wrong with it. It's just like but this is definitely like not applicable to everyone. But so it's just a wonky thing that I personally do.
Mhm. Oh, Richie's like, "Oh, don't worry. I also listen to music on repeat." Yeah, like especially if it's really good music, it's like
Hmm.
like I do that a lot at times too, where it's like
Yeah.
and then sometimes where I'm like, okay, yeah, let's change the music now.
Yeah.
At some
But
point.
72 hours on repeat is definitely on the weirder side of even of my listening habits. Yeah, cool. Any more questions from the audience?
Oh, okay. CJ put same here, not only music, but cozy art streams. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
art streams are really, really, really chill and just like really relaxing too. Like when you see like
Yeah.
another artist just stream and then they're like drawing something while they're like talking to their audience. That's also really just like it feels it's so chill and
Yeah, yeah. Honestly really helpful when it comes to like, okay, having motivation to do your own work. Just like puts on a video or stream from another artist, and it just feel while you're working, and it's just like, oh, you're mutually motivating each other to do work, which is something that I also enjoy doing.
Mm, nice. Ooh. Oh wait. Is there any more questions you guys have for Jasmine here? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Here's my next question for you, Jasmine.
Hmm.
Um like how did you you know like you I know your inspiration, you know, I know you've said it in your presentation that you
Yeah.
know you take inspiration from like whimsical, you know, like what is it about the you know that genre or topic, you know, that you always want to utilize it in your art pieces?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's just like simply growing up, getting older, uh, just as like I definitely lean towards like more hopeful themes these days. With like I don't know how growing up in the last like 10 years or so, kind of grim, kind of oh, there's stuff going around the world that I'm not very happy with. But I guess it's just like as I grew up, I got a more how do I describe it? It's like grim topics, grim themes, very uh like unhopeful themes. Kind of I was kind of started leaning away from them, not because I don't think like hopelessness doesn't exist or whatnot, but I find that it's not very helpful with like getting through life or like making progress on your projects or like achieving your goals. I have personally found just like being very hopeful and very about the world being appreciating like the kind of work that goes into the life that I live, and just like appreciating the world around me to be a much more inspiring, much better motivator to contribute to the world and the society we live in. I guess this kind of leans into like why I enjoy haiku so much. For example, it's like I mentioned that it helped me during college. It's like at the time I was like conflicted about like whether I wanted to continue with. I was really conflicted about my major because I wasn't very happy with what I was doing in college. I thought I was very like unmotivated with art. I thought like, oh, my work doesn't isn't up to par, wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. But like um, Haikyuu is a story about passion, and it follows the main character as he pursues volleyball as a passion without any regard of whether or not he was going to make it. It was going to take him to like professional levels or anything. It was just something he did because he enjoyed doing it, and that was the part that really inspired me and was like it really helped me out during college because like it just helped me understand like, hey, even if art was nothing something that takes a long time for me to get better at, if it's something that I don't know for sure I'm going to be able to make full use of um, in the future, it's something that I enjoy doing. It's something that I love, and it's something that is worth continuing to pursue and follow, even if you don't end up using it as like even if you don't end up using it as like a profession or anything, your main job, your day job can be there just to fund your art career and whatnot. And it was also at the time where I started watching videos about like how people make things, about like people making clothes or like drawing things or to explain like how they built something. And it's like that gave me a better appreciation about like, oh, whenever I interact with something, like someone had a hand in building this or making this. It's like the computer I'm streaming from, we hundreds of people have probably contributed to how it was constructed. The house I'm living in, someone had to design it, someone had to build it, and someone had to inspect it, and someone had to make sure that everything in it worked. Even like the streets outside, someone had to think about like how to lay out the streets and whatnot. Someone had to pave the streets. Someone had to think about how to make the streets safe and whatnot. So it's just like I guess just like having a greater appreciation for the world around me, having a greater appreciation for like being hopeful and being and looking towards like a brighter future. That sort of just led me towards like appreciating whimsy more, and that's ultimately how bled into like how I view Sonic and how I depict them. Like you can definitely see this like with had some like really old work that's like a lot grimmer when I first started discovering like nitty gritty topics when I was like 13, going through like sort of that emo phase and whatever. I found some sketches from back then. They're like super gritty and grim. And now I'm looking at it, it's like, man, what was I thinking when I drew that? It's like my favorite, for example, has shifted from like Shadow to Sonic just because like, oh, hope core. I love being hopeful about the future and about the world around me because how millions of people have contributed to the world I live in now, and millions of people will contribute to the world we eventually will live in, so on and so forth. Yeah, hope core, whimsy maxing. That's the kind of that's kind of where my why Sonic. I draw Sonic the way I draw Sonic. Sorry, that got really philosophical, but like I have spent a lot of time thinking about what kind of themes I enjoy drawing Sonic with, and that's ultimately like the kind of path my brain has led me. Not the most sensical, but like that's just kind of where it is.
I mean, that's understandable, yeah. I love philosophical answers, you know, you get so insightful and it's like I'm in awe. Like, when you get so philosophical, I was like, "Ooh, I am like jotting down notes."
Yeah.
Looks like I don't see any other questions, but we will have to end this panel. I want to thank you, Jasmine, for coming on to Serenity Spring Festival.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for inviting me to host the panel in the first place.
Yeah, like because I was like when I saw your art, I was like, yeah, this is one of the artists I want to like reach out to. In terms of like, oh yeah, we need to get them on for a panel for the Spring Festival. Um, and of course, this panel will also it is recorded and it will be posted on my YouTube channel. And I'm also here happy to announce that the artist showcase with Akarakarina is now posted on my YouTube channel. So for those who did miss the panel, it is posted. So I posted the link in the announcements text channel there. And then this one, with Jasmine by the Bay will be posted soon. Um, and of course, I'm going to announce the panels for tomorrow. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. PT, 4 p.m. ET is Voices of Sonic Revolution with Arena Rooney. So another Revo VA panel at that time. And then at 2 p.m. PT, 5 p.m. ET is I will be hosting a Sonic Movie 4 theories and predictions Twitter space. So how this will work, I know I explained it in the opening ceremony, is that if you don't have Twitter and you want to listen in, it will be taking place in Serenity Spring Festival stage through a share screen where I will be sharing my screen on my Twitter, like showcasing the actual Twitter space so you guys can listen in. For those who don't have Twitter, that's how that will be. And then at 6 p.m. PT, 9 p.m. ET is Project Shadow fan film with Joao Felipe Santiago. So if you remember the Project Shadow fan film, you know, that released before Sonic Movie 3. Yeah. Um Here's your chance to ask him some questions tomorrow. But yeah, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.